Hello, my name's Beth, and thanks for joining me here on the Pagan Creative Podcast, where we explore ideas around creativity and the creative life from a pagan and nature-based perspective. We talk about what creativity means to us, how we can draw it out of ourselves, and how we can use it in the world. So this episode, it does sit outside of our usual episodes and the series on creativity and plant development that we're currently running. Although, as the harvest episode from that series is falling so close to this festival, I have made the talking part of this episode, this festival episode, a little bit shorter than some of the past festival episodes, just so that I'm not repeating lots of things for those who are listening to both. So if you would like more on this time of harvest after we've finished what we're looking at today, then please do go and check out that episode. It should be available shortly after this one on whichever platform you're listening on. But otherwise, we'll be following the same kind of format as the previous festival episodes. Again, you can find all of those on whichever podcast platform you're listening on. So I'll be talking for a little bit about the festival, and then we'll go into a quieter space with some poetry and a guided visualization, pathworking, and a healing candle meditation. So let's get started. So this episode, it's specially for the festival of Lughnasadh that we're celebrating in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. Or you might call it Lammas, or you might call it Loaf Feast, or First Harvest, or Freyfaxi, or Freyr's Blot, or perhaps another name, depending on your tradition or what part of the world you're from. And of course, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere at the moment, then you will be celebrating Imbolc. So you might also want to check out that episode from earlier this year, if that's where you're listening from. But Lughnasadh sits within the Celtic calendar as the last of the year's cross-quarter days, the last of the fire festivals, the other ones being Samhain, Imbolc and Beltane. And the new year will start again at Samhain at the end of October. And Lughnasadh, as you might guess, is named for the Celtic god Lugh, the god associated with the sun and the harvest. And we might also think of characters such as John Barleycorn at this time, the grain god that has turned from green to gold and is filled with all of the nourishment of the sun that's been gathered up over the course of the summer and is cut down at this time as he sacrifices himself for the benefit of all who have need of the food and the grain that we receive from his body. Within the Norse tradition, we might look to the god Freyr of the Vanir as god of the sun and of fertility and of harvest. And it's all these beings that were honoured in the corn dollies and the wreaths that were and are traditionally made at this time with the first sheaf of corn cut from the fields. And there are some quite elaborate rituals and customs around these creations, some absolutely beautiful creations. I mean, if you Google this, you will see some absolutely amazingly skilled craft work of people working with these stalks of corn or wheat in this way. And for me, this always reminds me of the area that I grew up in, and seeing these big fields of wheat that were sort of peppered with these beautiful bright red poppies. In amongst it, the red and the gold together was just absolutely beautiful. And it was one of the real highlights of the summer. I used to actually go out and find fields like this just to be with them, because it was just such a beautiful, abundant, amazing sight. And I loved that to the point that since I moved into the north of England. There's so many beautiful things here, but you just don't tend to see these big fields of wheat and poppies in the same way. And so it's something that at times I felt quite homesick about, and actually ended up resorting to making lots of ceramic work with designs around sort of wheat and poppies. But I am digressing as always. So going back to what we were saying, whatever deities or figures represent this time for us, this is the time when we are starting to withdraw from cultivating growth, and we've begun gathering in the fruits of our labours. And despite the intensive work of the harvest itself, the tide of growth is very much starting to turn from giving in the form of all that energy and time that has been invested in reaching this point to receiving the reward of that, our energy returning to us in a transformed form. And this shift at the time of harvest, it represents the shift within the currents of the earth that are now going to be leading us into the dark half of the year. Because although the sun is still strong and hot, and we still feel very much that we are in the summer, in reality, the sun has already begun its descent. We might have noticed that the days are starting to shorten, and the beginning of the harvest is telling us that growing season is coming to a close, and that we will move from Lughnasadh to Mabon and to that final harvest at Samhain. But we actually began this period of turning at the summer solstice, when we had the longest day, but it can just take a while to see it. It can take a while to start to feel that shift happening. And I often think of it like a big cruise liner or a big ship of some kind turning in the water. We see the tip start to turn, but nothing seems to be happening for ages. And then slowly, you see that huge mass of a ship changing course, and it's as if that momentum and that pull, it has to build up to a certain level before it actually becomes visible, and that turning actually starts to manifest. And I think things in our life can feel a bit like that sometimes too. We can work on something, and we'll work on it, and we'll work on it, and we think nothing's happening. We think we're not making progress. And then suddenly we'll find things start to change. And for anybody who's grown plants, well, they tend to be quite similar, whether it's at the point of planting a seed or whether it's at the point of waiting for a fruit to ripen. It can feel, when it finally happens, as though something has happened just literally overnight. But in reality, that process began a long time before we became aware of this outcome. There's a big lesson for us there in trust. Trust that what we have planted in our lives, where we have invested our energy, will come to fruition in some way and be something that we, or perhaps generations that come after us, can harvest, even if we can't see it yet. Because some growth cycles are short, some are much longer. It's kind of like the way that we, in our comparatively tiny human bodies, have a much smaller turning circle than a big cruise liner. But everything is following that path that nature lays out for it. Everything's moving within those creative currents of the land. So as you stand in this point, what is it that is starting to become visible for you? What have you been growing over this year? It might not be something in the physical world. It might be something inside. It might be a new feeling or a new way of looking at the world or yourself. It might be a new way of relating to someone or something. But if you think back to where you were at the winter solstice or at Imbolc, what has grown? What's made itself visible in you or your life since then? What have you learned? What has changed? What are you harvesting? And what deserves to be celebrated? What are the new seeds that you will take forward into the next cycle? What are you grateful for? And what do you want to leave behind? Because our harvest is as much about what we leave behind as what we take into ourselves. Harvest is a release as much as the culmination of growth. Because to receive the harvest, we have to be willing to empty the fields of crops. We have to be willing to make space for a new cycle. And as we stand in this point of first harvest, we know that the months ahead are an opportunity to release what no longer serves us into that season of fading and of death. So as we gather to us these golden sheaves of grain in whatever form they come to us in our life, as we give thanks for what has manifested for us, as we pluck the seeds that we will plant for another harvest in the next growing cycle, we also have this chance to release the husks, the things that made the growth of the grain possible, but which no longer belong in us or in our life. And this is perhaps a time for contemplation of what is our true harvest and what has simply been stepping stones that should now be allowed to fall away to create space for what comes next. And we're all individuals, and only we will know what it is time to let go of. And it could be anything from bad habits to unhelpful beliefs or feelings that keep us stuck. Or it could be unhealthy relationships or situations. And as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking back through my own life, and I can see particular friendships and relationships, for example, that were so important to me at the time. But in hindsight, they were clearly meant to be let go and their purpose had been served. And boy, did they go rotten when I tried to hang on to them. We've probably all had friendships or relationships like that. Sometimes people can fade out of our life unexpectedly, and it can be hard to let go and accept the completion of that cycle as you make the transition that they have helped to make possible. And I think sometimes it's hard to let go exactly because you can see that they've helped you to make that transition possible. If you believe in soul contracts, then that might be one way to look at those situations. That some relationships, they feel like they come into our lives with an expiration date on them from the outset. And it can be challenging to go through phases of loss. And these issues are something that becomes more and more pertinent as we move through this harvest and into the coming harvests at Mabon and Samhain. But this point of first harvest, I think, is where we start this process of reflection as we experience this shift that is moving us towards autumn and winter and the dark months when we will have that really full opportunity to release all these things. And that in itself, it's another kind of harvest. We live in a society where the idea of death and loss and change is usually presented to us as something to fear and to resist. And that's completely natural that we do, because these are things that are very challenging to our sort of primal human brains and our sense of safety and consistency in the world, the things that make us feel feel secure and to feel grounded and rooted in our lives. And let's face it, these past few years, all of this kind of thing has been pushed in our faces in ways that most of us have never had to deal with before. And it's not at all a comfortable thing to sit with. But we also need this period that is announcing itself at this time of first harvest to cleanse and to heal and to be released from the things inside us that are blocking us from our potential, that are blocking us from our joy and from living the life that we want to live. We don't have to know what comes next. We don't have to know what will fill that empty space. We're just making room for it so that when it makes itself known to us, we can let it in and we can receive it. Going through this process is actually something really positive and really nourishing that allows us to open up that space inside us to receive more of the light that we want to flow in. It makes room inside us for the harvest that we truly want to receive. Because the more that we can accept with each cycle around the wheel to let go of what is complete, just as the earth releases her growth, just as she releases her crops that will nourish us with food, then the more that we are able to receive, the more that we're able to have the experience of fully receiving what we have grown in our lives and ourselves and being nourished and supported by it. I'd like to invite you now to share in our pathworking meditation and some poetry and a candle meditation all around these themes of first harvest that we've been talking about today. As always, please do only enter into this if your attention is not needed elsewhere, such as if you are driving or you are looking after children or you are operating any kind of machinery. But if you are in a position to settle down and relax, then I want to invite you now to find a comfortable place to sit or to lie down, making sure that your body is well supported, that you're nice and cozy, so that you can close your eyes and just sink into this relaxation and this space that is created to nurture and hold you in this Lughnasadh sharing. So take a few moments just to get yourself settled now. And when you're ready, I'll begin with a poem. And it's called First Harvest. Golden stalks sway in the current of summer winds, sun's light embodied in crystalline grain, the gift of sacrifice and the falling year, wrapped in dry husks that sing in rustling, rasping voices as the field dances, pregnant with night, stars swirling in the dark spaces beneath the rippling surface of wheat, the fingertips of the crone poking through soil to reach for the scythe, the sharp curve of the blade revealed as the grasses fall, released to the earth's dream, as the voices sing out over summer fires, ancient songs of rejoicing for the seeds of future life received in the first harvest. And now that we've set the scene, let's move into our guided pathworking meditation. And at the end of this meditation, I'd like to invite you to keep your eyes closed and to just carry on relaxing, as we will move into the healing candle meditation afterwards. But for now, let's take a moment to start to relax a little bit more deeply. So just take a moment to close your eyes and to get comfortable. Just make any small adjustments to your body that allow you to let go of tension. And when you're ready, just take a few deep breaths, just as deep as feels comfortable for you. So just breathe in and out. Breathe in and out, and in and out. Let any tightness in your body flow away from you as you continue to breathe. Just imagine it flowing away from you on your out breath. Bring your attention to your chest and your belly and breathe into them slowly and gently. And as you breathe, imagine that your energy is expanding and contracting with your breath as light. Just let it create a cloak or a bubble of light all around you, reaching over your head and under your feet. Just keep breathing. Just keep filling this up with light and energy. See it getting brighter and stronger as you breathe in that energy to surround you. And as it grows, just let your heart and your belly soften. Just let your mind quieten down. You can imagine that your mind is like a tight muscle that you're releasing. Just feel that ease starting to come in. Just focus on your breath as it moves in and out of you, gently energizing you. Just feel your muscles releasing their tension, becoming looser and heavier as you relax into your seat or the ground or the bed where you're lying. But feel that support all around you. Just bring your attention to the places where the ground meets your body. be aware of where the base of your spine is in contact with the surface that is beneath you. Just breathe into that area. Breathe into the base of your spine for a few breaths. Just feel that area become warm. And imagine it opening up. As you feel that connection to the earth, that place where the base of your spine is in contact with the surface beneath you, just allow yourself to send a root down from the base of your spine. Or if you prefer, you can do this from the soles of your feet. But send down that root into the earth. Send it down and down through all the layers of the earth. All the layers of history and ancestors, and all the roots that unite us together as one. Just let that root travel down and down to the center of the earth, right down to the earth fire at the center of the planet. Just imagine that warm, nourishing, supporting fire flowing up through that root, up and into your body, into your feet and your legs, to your pelvis and your torso, through your heart and your head, and out through the top of your head, flowing down and around you back down to the earth. Strengthening and reinforcing that bubble or cloak of light that is already around you. And as you do this, feel the light of the sun above you. Just feel that warm, beautiful, golden light flowing down onto the top of your head, down through your head to your heart and your torso, flowing through all your internal organs, bringing that beautiful light, nourishing, supportive energy from the sky. Move down through your pelvis and your legs and your feet and into the earth. Just let these two currents of energy flow through you, filling you and surrounding you with beautiful, healing, nourishing light. Just let yourself feel yourself as a bridge between the earth and the sky. And when you're ready, I'd like to ask you to imagine that you are standing on the edge of a vast field of ripe golden wheat or barley or corn, whatever crop or grain crop is ripening and becoming ready to harvest in your part of the world. Take some time to really feel yourself in this place, where the sky is a rich summer blue with a bright golden sun that is pouring its light down onto you and onto this golden field that is gently moving in the warm summer breeze. The soles of your bare feet are on the soil that spreads out under the wheat in shadow. As you look around, you can see that the field is dotted with red poppy flowers, bright spots of pure, vibrant red swaying within the golden grasses. And you start to walk through the thin paths among the plants, running your hands through the golden grains, feeling their rough texture against your fingers, the tough husks that hold their seeds within. And as you see and you feel this abundance spread out all around you, this gift of the earth and the sun in union, you take some moments to think about all of the abundance in your own life, of everything that you have received over the year, the growth that you have received through living your life and having your experiences, everything that has created change, transformation, healing, everything that has supported you through sunny days and dark days. You see it all spread out around you now in this golden field. So take some time now to reflect on the year you have lived through and all of the abundance that is present here for you, to open your heart to gratitude. And now as you look into the field, you see a woman walking through the field towards you. She is the summer goddess, the mother of these crops, vital and vibrant, dressed in green and gold. And she greets you. And you take some time to speak with her. Is there anything that you wish to ask her about this crop? About what has been growing in your own life? And as you stand in this place with her, she gestures to the earth, and you look down, and under the stalks of the corn, you see something glinting, catching a tiny spark of light in the shadows. And you crouch down to look and see that it is a small scythe with a curved blade, and you reach out to pick it up. Just take a moment to recognize the feeling of this tool in your hand and the invitation that it is giving you to harvest the first sheaf of grains from this field. Feel the potency of this and the turning of the wheel within it. This scythe belongs to the crone goddess, and she is asking you to open the doorway to her through beginning your own harvest. You take the scythe and move it through the plants that grow closest to you. And as they fall into your hands, you lift them to your heart, catching their scent, their texture, their golden sheen. And you thank the summer goddess for this gift before lifting them over your head towards the sun and thanking the sun for all that you have received. You look down to where the cut stalks are still poking from the ground, and you see that in this area the earth seems to sparkle with stars, and the darkness of the night sky is starting to spread across the soil under the wheat that is still basking in the sun's light. As you look at the summer goddess, you see that she is starting to age. Fine wrinkles appearing on her face, white hairs starting to gleam from her crown, the skin on her hands starting to thin, making blood and bones just a little more visible. And you know that the crone goddess has begun her journey back into our world. And you see that the husks and the stalks of grain that you have cut, that have held that grain safely during its growth, are now ready to be pulled away. And you take some moments to reflect on all the things from this past year that you are ready to release. Things that may have helped you on your way, whether joyfully or painfully, that you're ready to leave behind now. Ask the goddess for help with this release, with this letting go, as you pull those rough parts away and cast them into the night that is spreading through the soil. You see these things that you no longer need disappearing into the darkness, broken down, dispersed, becoming part of the earth once more. And you know that the crone will take care this for you. This is what she does. And she is sharing her blessing, her special healing with you. And now you stand with your handful of grain. And these are the seeds that will carry you into a new cycle of growth, that will bring new paths and spirals and evolutions when the time is right. The goddess reaches out to cup your filled hands with her own, and you feel her blessing upon these seeds flowing through you and into your hands. You see that each seed has a tiny sun inside it, glowing with golden light that will be released in growth when it is time for you to plant them. When you are ready to name these seeds and welcome whatever they contain into your life. These seeds are now yours. They are the return for all that you have poured your life force into over these past months. So take some time now to really receive them, to open your heart and let in the gift that is trying to come to you. And if you find this difficult, ask the goddess to help you to open your heart in this way. When you're ready, the goddess leads you across the field towards a towering figure that seems to rise up out of the wheat, made of stalks and grains, shining with the golden light of the sun. Do you feel the enormous energy of vitality that is emanating from him, filling the field and all of the crops with life? And as you walk towards him, you notice that all of the poppies in the field are gathering around him, a sea of brilliant red petals and dark centers that seem to lap at his golden body in the gentle breeze. This is the god of the grain and the sun, who awakened the seeds that have grown into this beautiful golden field that must now be harvested to feed and nourish all. And you stand before Him, feeling His love and His vitality flowing into you as His heart shines out. Take some time with Him now to ask Him about the harvest that we need for the world. What do we want for our planet? What do we want to take into ourselves as a community of life? And what needs to fall away into the coming darkness? Take some time with Him now. And when you're ready, you take out one of your shining golden seeds and you name it with what you wish to harvest for the world. Just take a few moments to really feel this thing that you are wishing for. And you offer this seed to the grain god. And as he receives it, the goddess turns to you and hands you a large scythe. And with a single sweep, you cut through the stalks and let the grain god fall, his light spreading out across the field as the remaining plants fall with him. You turn to look across this now empty field where only the poppies remain, the red petals swaying over the star-filled night that is now shining up from the earth where the corn once stood, only the cut stalks remaining. And though you can still see the sun in the sky and feel its heat on your skin, you know that it must fade now. The corps of crows travels through the air to reach you, and you know that they will soon arrive to pick at the seeds and the kernels that are left from the harvest. That the winds will cool and the days will get shorter still. And although the beauty of the field has gone, you know that all is well, that the grain has not been lost, but has been harvested. It has been received, and you have made a good harvest for yourself and for the world. You thank the goddess, and you thank the grain god who has fallen, saying your goodbyes. And when you're ready, you make your way back to the very edge of the field where you first arrived. And as you stand in the place where you began this journey, you allow it to gently fade from your senses. You let it fade, knowing that you can always come back here if you want to. You start to slowly move your focus back to your physical body, to become aware of the form of your body, of your arms and legs, of your torso and head. You become aware of the place where you are, of what you are experiencing with your physical senses. You can hear, smell, taste, what you can feel, the sensation of the chair or the ground or the bed supporting your body. Just imagine cloak of leaves wrapping around your shoulders, holding you in this energy of nature, holding you safe, embracing you in love and support. And just take some deep breaths, feeling the air move through your body, how it expands your chest and your belly, Then move that breath down and start to imagine that you're breathing in through your feet. Focus on the soles of your feet and be aware of them making contact with the ground as you allow your body to slowly and gently move. First your toes and your fingers. You might roll your head from side to side. Move your shoulders. Or have a good stretch if you feel that. But before you open your eyes, I just want to invite you to remain in this space of relaxation for a little while longer, with your eyes closed as we share a healing candle. So I have lit this candle now as our Lughnasadh flame, and I'd like to invite you now to imagine that candle and its flame burning in the darkness. Just imagine that flame as a point of connection for all of the beautiful shining hearts that are taking part in this space, regardless of time or place. Just let it be a single point of focus, a single point of light that radiates out to bless each one of us with its warmth and healing, energizing us, opening us, uplifting and illuminating us in whatever way we have need of it. And let's just take a little bit of time now to just make that connection into this space. And just see it now as a flame that radiates out beyond us to touch the hearts of all those who wish to receive it, bringing light and warmth, comfort, love, healing, compassion, kindness, beauty, peace, joy, friendship, understanding. See its light expanding to hold the whole world, every living being. Feel it finding its way into every dark space. Wherever there is pain or suffering, just feel it opening inner doorways to allow that light within to become visible and manifest. To allow every heart that desires it to receive it. And let this Lughnasadh flame bring the light of blessings and abundance, providing wherever there is need or lack, feeding and nourishing body, mind and soul, bringing hope and strength to forge new paths of light and growth ahead. Let it shine its light for the benefit of all. Let this flame bring the peace of unity, of harmony, togetherness, as one planet, hearts joined with all beings held in this light. And let's just stay in that space together for a few minutes now. And there will be silence for this time, so please don't worry that there's anything wrong with your device. I will bring you back when it's time. Blessed be. And when you're ready, just allow yourself once again to become aware of the room where you're sitting or lying. Just become aware of the sounds and the sensations of your body, of your limbs, of the support you're lying on. Just bring attention to your breath. Feel it expanding your chest, your belly, pulling you into your body, present and aware. Just let yourself make small movements of your fingers and your toes, your head and your shoulders. Have a good stretch. And keep breathing right down into your feet, feeling the ground below and around you, feeling yourself rooted and present in this place. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so I really hope you've enjoyed our little Lughnasadh celebration here today. I will bring this space to a close here, but as always, thank you so very much for joining me, and I wish you all the blessings of this wonderful festival and this time of the first harvest. So much love, so much light, so much beauty coming out to you. Hope that you will join me again next time. But bye for now.